Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title today, we're going to talk about dealing with the grieving process and all that jazz. um Disclaimer, I am not a certified counselor or a psychologist or anything like that. I'm just a girl who has experienced loss and wants to share her story. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I know you so well, so well. All right, so today, as I said, we're going to discuss the grieving process and all that jazz. To be honest, part of my journey to being a better me um includes me being totally honest and transparent about my grief and my grieving. I've always been one to say I'm fine, I'm doing good, I am okay, and deep within that is not the that's actually not how I feel. And oh my gosh, my eyes are welling up. But you know, it is it is what it is. I for for some time have been dishonest about how I actually feel in terms of the loss of my both my mom and my dad, more so my father, because I will get into that in a little bit. But I feel like a part of me being transparent and a part of me um owning up to certain feelings is a part of me becoming a better person. So um let's start by talking about the the deaths of both my mom and my dad. My mom would have passed on in 2011. This year, at the end of this month, actually, would make it 11 years since she passed. um I believe that my mom's death, one, I think I was a little bit more prepared for it because mommy was ailing for some time. And two, after she died, I would have had the opportunity to to grieve. I would have had a support system because daddy was still around, and daddy made it so that we would always be able to remember mommy in a beautiful way. um I both deaths, the mornings of both deaths, I remember it like if it was yesterday. There's nothing about that I don't recall. I recall when mommy died, the morning mommy died. We received a call from daddy received a call from my brother saying that mommy's breathing was shallow and that we needed to come to the hospital immediately. That morning daddy got up, he was not well and he couldn't make it. He asked me to fill in the gap for him and to go to the hospital to check her. I would have called my neighbor and asked her to come along with me because I was so scared. At that point in time, I think um, mommy would have died 4 years prior to mommy. So I would have been 26 or 25, thereabout. And I I was scared, right? I remember being scared. I didn't want to go by myself. My neighbor said, of course she would go with me. She, she made the joke. She said, Caroline, you're going in the bathroom to bathe. You're going to wash your kunki. You're going to wash your kunki and you're going to wash your arms and under your boobs. And you're getting out of the bathroom. You're not going to wash. You're not going to take a full shower. And I went in the bathroom. I turned on the shower. I just stepped under the shower and daddy came and he said, Caroline, your mommy has passed. I froze in the bathroom for about 5 minutes. My mother's caregiver had to come and take me out. Then I froze in my towel for another 5 minutes because like I was in shock. I was in disbelief that it actually happened, even though mommy was ill and we were preparing for death and that kind of stuff. It was like, no, this can't be. Nevertheless, when she passed on, and after the funeral and stuff, daddy made an outlet for us to freely come and sit and talk to him about how we were feeling and stuff. And when I told daddy that I wanted to go for grief counseling, he paid for me to go, and I went. So I had that support system. With respect to daddy, it was Daddy Corinne and I living here. Daddy would have gotten to the point where he was 100 pounds. I was able to lift Daddy physically from his bed and take him to the living room and lift him from the living room and bring him back. So that's to tell you how absolutely light he was. Daddy had stopped eating. He wasn't, like, every day I was telling him that you have to fight, you have to fight, you have to fight. Now, as I said in a video before, I think I did say this, that I was a daddy's girl, right? And so seeing daddy go down, dwindled into nothingness, it was really hard for me. And just fast forwarding to the night before he died, I went to the hospital. I can't recall why my siblings weren't able to make it, but it was just Corinne and I. And I sat by the hospital bed. I was singing for him. I was praying with him. I was reading scripture. I was doing everything that we usually do when we make the visits, when we would have made the visits. And I said, when the bell rang, visiting hours to be over, I said, Daddy, I'll see you tomorrow, okay? And I rubbed his head, and he looked at me with a very blank stare. And I was like, I don't understand. Because every day we had this pact that when I say I'd see you tomorrow, he would nod. He did not nod. He did not even blink. And I kept saying it. I repeated myself over and over again, and that didn't happen. He was not nodding. He was not affirming that I would see him the next day. I called Cohen. I cried from San Grande Hospital to Bonaire to home. And I would have called my brother. I told him how I was feeling. I told him that, you know, I think that dad's not going to make it and stuff. And he kept telling me, you know, you have to have the faith, Caroline. I don't see why you would be talking like that. And I kept telling him, you know, I saw him today. His breath was very shallow. And this is not, you know, like how I'm accustomed seeing him. Needless to say, we had conversations, we would have prayed together, and eventually I fell asleep at 12:10 thereabout. I would have received a call from my brother again stating that daddy died. This time around, I really don't know how I made it to the bathroom, because I went to the toilet. I used the toilet. I called my neighbor and I told her that daddy passed. And all I remember is that I was crawling out. I fell and I was crawling out of the bathroom to get Corinne, toilet, to get Corinne ready, because my elder brother was coming to pick us up to take us to the hospital. I did not, we were in the car. I wasn't hearing anything. I did not want to go in to see daddy that way. And everybody kept saying, you have to see him, you have to see him, you have to accept it. And that's the only, going in to see him is the only way you would be able to accept what has happened and whatever. And it was a big fight, but eventually I did go in. When I went in, I felt cold. I felt it was a weird feeling that came over my body. And then when I was exiting the room, all I remember is I think I wanted the earth to swallow me whole. The difference between mom and dad's deaths is that after daddy died, I feel like I put on a very brave front for everybody because I didn't want anybody to know what I was dealing with internally. And externally, I had a lot of things to deal with. I had to figure out um, how I was going to care for Corinne. I had to figure out where I was going to get a job. I was, helter skelter in my thoughts because, like, I was actually now thrust into responsibility that, yes, I was looking for work and whatever, but I still had the blanket of daddy being around. And now that blanket, it was like somebody just came and just ripped the bandage off of you, pull the blanket from underneath you, and you fall down on the ground. That's exactly how I would have felt. And for years, I would say years, I did not accurately deal with it. So I'm going to start by saying that when it came to me saying how I feel or acknowledging whether I was in pain or whether I was feeling hurt or whether I was feeling frustrated about losing that, I did not do it. Mind you, I would have gone to grief counseling for mommy. So I understood the steps that were necessary for me to accurately grieve. But I didn't do it. I was like, okay, daddy's dead, and there's no point in wallowing in feelings. I need to organize myself, organize my thoughts, be a big girl, and do what I need to do. And so, year comes in, year leaves, and it was the same thing. And I think, to be 100% honest, last year, no, in 2018, this is now 3 years later, I had now addressed what I was going through mentally. Because in 2018, I had a total meltdown that we call caregiver burnout. So everything just came crashing all the way down. So that now, going through that depression that I did go through due to caregiver burnout, I was now forced to think about the pain that I would, like, my counselor was like, well, first of all, you really didn't, because she would have asked me a lot of questions about family life, family history, etc. And she was frank with me. She said, Caroline, you did not grieve your father. You did not, you've accepted that he's gone, but you did not grieve. You did not allow yourself to go through the stages. And so I'm here today talking about this mainly because I know that this last couple years have been very difficult for many persons, mainly because COVID-19 has put so much restrictions on our lives. It has not allowed us to be able to attend funerals. It has not given us the opportunity to actually see loved ones I know some people need to see the body to get that level of closure and stuff. And once you die from COVID, it was you either get cremated or you do a closed casket funeral, so that you're not going to get to see your loved one when they go down in the hole. Um, unless, of course, they did some sort of glass casing. So that being said, I wanted to share my own experience with you guys. Not to bum you all out, but to help somebody who may be struggling with their own personal grieving process. I want to share some things that I would have done um, to help me along the way. So the first thing is acknowledging my pain, like being truthful about my pain. I would have done that when mom passed, but when daddy passed, I did not. And I think that it is a needed step in your process. Um, Also, accepting that, or understanding that grief could initiate many different emotions. One minute you'll be happy, and the next minute you'll remember and you'll feel sad, or you might feel angry, or you might be in doubt, like, why did this happen, and question God. All of that is a natural part. I just need to say too that as Christians, well, I'm a Christian. You're always told that you shouldn't question God about it. And my viewpoint on that whole thing is that if we're saying that, God is should be treated as a friend or as a father or whatever, it's okay to have rapport. It's not like you're cursing God for asking him for clarity on why a situation has happened to you. You know what I mean? So that the grief process will naturally bring about certain emotions. And if you believe in God, whatever God you believe in, um you have the right to say, why did this happen, you know another thing is that sometimes, like, we like to compare ourselves with other people. So I can tell you, it was 5 of us. None of us grieved the same way. To this date, I can't even tell you how my brothers dealt with mommy and daddy's passing. This song from Encanto, we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about our parents' death. So none of us know, but you can assume and think that one person is dealing with it better than the other, which may not necessarily be the case. So, having an understanding that the grief is unique to you is important also. Um, what worked for me is going for counseling. That might not be everybody's cup of tea, because not everybody likes to go sit and speak to somebody. But I endorse counseling 100%. Um, it helps having an unbiased person to sit and have a conversation with. Um, you might find that the guidance you're looking for could come from somebody who doesn't know anything about you and your history and that kind of thing. Then I didn't want this video to be too long, and I'm realizing that it is. Another important point is to ensure that your emotional health is taken care of. um how I do that. So exercise actually clears my mind. Like when I was walking, I used to release certain thoughts, and I had the moments of actually being able to pray and pray without interruption. You know, like sometimes there's this thing that says it's prayer ADHD, where you start off praying and then you remember that you have something to do in your house, and then you find your thoughts start to stray, and then you come back and say, oh gosh, God, where I was with my prayer. With walking, I felt as though I could have connected with God on a different level, and I didn't have that problem. I didn't have that challenge. Um, so I think that, you know, it's important to like exercise and release those endorphins that help you through that. And you would be surprised how much better you would feel emotionally when you go take a walk, when you skip, when you do some cardio, jog on the spot. You feel a lot better. You feel like your world has somehow become better because you've done something. And finally, identifying that or recognizing that there is a difference between grieving and depression is also important. Um, Sometimes they look the same. They could look the same because you could be angry, and you could be feeling sad and overcome with a lot of different emotions at the same time after loss, and you could feel that way whilst depressed. So being able to recognize the triggers that may cause you to feel depressed, or the triggers after grief, after loss, sorry, are very much important um, to help you in your grieving process. So that's the end of the video for today. I do hope that what I've shared with you today can help somebody along the way. 2020 to 2022 has been a challenging year for many of us, and I would like for 2022 to be a year that we take back control over our lives. I've started my process, and I want you to join me on the journey to starting yours. To have a lovely rest of your day. Continue to make good choices, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ooh, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you are enjoying my content. See you guys soon. Bye.